corrected. I hope you can hear me now. Yes, if you can hear me clearly now, just tell me yes, you can hear me, so that we can continue. I just hope you can hear me. Well, let me just get just a moment and get something. Okay. It is quite sad and unfortunate. Okay, I think I've been able to see. Yes, let me trust you can hear me this moment. Okay, thank you so much for that timely response. Yes, what we are saying, Asari Dokubo's senseless ranting, evidence of frustration. Asari Dokubo's senseless ranting is an evidence of a man who is frustrated, who has lost focus and sense of responsibility. Asari Dokubo should be ashamed of himself. Asari Dokubo should bow down in shame. This is the same man who told the entire Nigerians that Tinubu is the only man who should deliver the people, who should lead them to El Dorado. Barely 6 months, you are now crying that the job people said that this is the worst government. The worst government in terms of what? You are now waking up from your delusion, waking up from your slumber, from your deception, self-deception. What did they saw now that they didn't see before now, prior to this time, prior to the election? You moved your men, the people you called your men, your lights, down to Abuja, intimidating people, calling people names, and you have the effrontery and the guts to insult the intelligence of the noble citizens of this country, of humanity who reside here. Yes, the government or the federal governments of Nigeria may have weaponized poverty to impoverish the masses, but it has not affected our psyche, our sense of responsibility, our sense of reasoning. We don't forget too quick. You as the same man who came on medias, who were ranting and mobilizing, gallivanting up and down, and just less than 7 months or thereabout, less than 10 months ago, telling us that on your mandate we shall stand, and suddenly you turn back to tell us that this is the worst government. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Just because you are trying to get the sympathy of the gullible ones who, unfortunately, don't know that you are one of the primary suspects. You are the one of the reasons why they are suffering. You are one of the reasons why they remain betrayed. Is it now that you know that the Ijaw nations are being suppressed, are being denied of their rights in the Nigerian projects? It is quite sad that the likes of Asari Dokubo, rather than going inside his house and shut himself there and think and teach himself some lessons. What did the people say about you? You don't care about people's reactions and public perceptions about you. I think that is what you owe yourself, a duty to go indoors and begin to ask, who do people think I am? How do they regard me before the public opinion, before the public domain? Asadi Dokubo was the one who was ranting that Tinubu must get there, that no power can stop him, that the entire Ijaw nations are behind him. He mobilized the youth, Ijaw youth, in solidarity, that this is the man, this is my friend, I knew him. If I were to be Tinubu, I would deal with you mercilessly for ranting, for making such nonsense of yourself. What have you done for your people? And you're now pretending as if you are just, you love the job people, that you are fighting for them. It just do not be deceived. If you think you are taking a walk with Asari Dokubo, you are just alone. Asari Dokubo is just walking alone, is not leading anyone any promised land. So do not play to the gallery. The same Asari Dokubo who claims that the Jaws, of course, I have great respect for the Jaw nation, but he said the Jaws are well united, this and that. The same man that insulted the largest black race in the world, the Igbo race. Where in the world can you navigate? Can you travel without seeing an Igbo man? Igbo man remains the largest black race, ethnic nationality in the world when it comes to black race. You assaulted them, you called them names, you abused the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra because he stood for what he believed, that is protected by the provisions of the Constitution, by the law, to be the rights of his people. Haven't been convinced that his people are suppressed, oppressed, marginalized within the Nigerian project system, he cried out. And you have no guts, you are not ashamed of yourself to begin to make caricature, mockery of yourself, not the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And you are now crying that Ijaw people are saying that this is the worst government because you are not giving the contracts to man to be to be the security of pipelines, oil pipelines, or you are not giving certain considerations so that you continue to rip off your people and take undue advantage of the people. You should be ashamed. See how your eyes are bugging. You open your mouth for the whole fly in the whole world to enter there because you're not making sense. Every ethnic nationality within Nigerian's projects are suppressed, are marginalized. Imagine the entire Riverine or coastal region. Imagine the Ogoni desecration, the total mess in Ogoni State. I have not seen Asari Dokubo coming up, mobilizing the youth and saying, no, once and for all, Ogoni's cleanup must be implemented. That ecosystem, which has been lost to oil exploration and oil spillage, people has lost their farmlands, people has lost their source of water, their source of livelihood. Most communities have been deserted because of the extent of damage, to some greater extent, irreparable damage that have been sustained over the decades. I remember during the Buhari regime, whatever you call it, regime or dispensation, because I didn't see any difference from the dictatorial tendencies of a military dictator. Osibanjo came and, of course, established some memorandum of understanding on how those cleanup will flag up. Did it commence up to today? 8 years down the line, now is the time of Tinubu. You have not come up one day and say, okay, my people, you know what? We must hold the government accountable and make sure they are committed to, of course, the agreements and their promises that the organic cleanup must be an initiative of the government which must be completely executed. And you now you're carrying out Ijaw people say Ijaw people say they are this is the worst government. So you don't know that this was the worst government, but eh? You don't know. Asari Dokubo with that your stomach. You don't eat the prosperity, the destinies of millions of Ijaw people. Carry it in your stomach. You don't care about their existence. You don't care about the posterity. You don't care about the people that are suffering who has no potable water. The first time I contracted typhoid was in those coastal regions. When I went for exam, they don't have drinking water. They don't have drinking. These are oil producing communities. They don't have drinking water. And you have the likes of Asari Dokubo who call himself militant. He says he's fighting for Niger Delta. Where is the Niger Delta? He's just fighting for his pocket and his stomach. Their stomach has become their God, as the Bible said it. My major concern and worry is that we have people who appears to be irresponsible and they don't have conscience. Their conscience don't even have conscience, let alone their conscience pricking them. When everybody was shouting for a new change of narrative about governance, about the approach to governance in Nigeria, we decided to take a very destructive path. You mobilize people and they came to Abuja ranting. You tell us that you have the AK for displacing your criminality and dastard arts, that you are in full support of this government. Now that the government has been established, 6 months down the line, and you are crying. Whatever a man sows, he should be willing to reap. That is a lesson for you. And you still have the God to insult the Igbo race. And they kept quiet because that is the best answer for a fool. They kept quiet because you cannot distract an average Igbo man. He is committed and resolute to whatever pursuits that is in there to him, regardless of whatever oppositions or distractions just that might be coming from somebody that is making an empty noise. If you really care and love the Ijaw nation, why not mobilize the youths? Go to Ogoni and demand, protest that the federal government must must begin the Ogoni cleanup projects. Otherwise, all the oil exploration within the region will be shut down because the people are suffering. Common water. They don't have access to potable water. They don't have access to good road. They don't have access to their farms again. Those who are majorly fishermen have lost their jobs and they have lost the ecosystem. They have lost virtually everything. And you don't care about most of their families, their children don't go to school. Their very essence of existence has been ruined by the recklessness and irresponsibility of the Nigerian state and its instruments of states. Because if a responsible government cannot cater for the well-being of the citizens, then what is the essence of that government? The primary essence of any responsible government is to ensure the welfare, the security of her own citizens. The government removed subsidy and you supported it. It is quite sad. if the government cannot contribute to alleviate the sufferings of the people by subsidizing certain products, I mean, very basic product like the petrol, then how can the government? You are not subsidizing. There is no health care system. There is no healthcare insurance scheme. There is no way you subsidize. You alleviate the sufferings of the masses. You see, the basic needs of an average Nigerian exceed the real income. Civil servants are crying. Everybody is crying. Teachers are being old. Lecturers are leaving the shores of this country. Asari Dokubo are not aware of this, that doctors are fleeing the country. Of most recent, over 4,000 consultants left the country. 4,000. Who will replace them? You don't ask a question. You don't understand the negative impact on the health sector and, of course, the overall well-being of an average Nigerian and everyone resident within this country, whether you believe you are in Nigeria or not. You are resident within this country, your life is at jeopardy. At jeopardy because if anything happens to you, you're just on your own, except you have enough money, of course, to be flown abroad for better medical checkups and treatment. But for the majority of the Nigerian populace, they are trapped in a very serious mess, in a very serious quagmire, in a very serious economic disaster. Some people said it. We lend our voice. In as much as, of course, it is very clear that we understood that the Tinubu is not the best. He might be good, but not even the. He's not even better, let alone being the best for Nigeria as a nation at this time. Suddenly you turn back and say that the Ijaw nation, Ijaw nation because of your interest. I neither in support of Wike, what he's doing, the recklessness and abuse of office or power. I'm not also in support of Fubara because they are best of a feather. Yes, Wike and Fubara are best of a feather. They flock together. 4 years down the line, Fubara, Simi Fubara, whatever you call him, they will also behave as Wike if care is not taken. So that is the average mentality of an average Nigerian greedy politicians. They want to perpetuate themselves within the corridor of power. They want to establish the dynasty. They want to remain relevant even when they have no reason to be there in the first place. Even when they have no business with governance. When they lack the local standing. The basic moral threshold or integrity test to be a leader. So I don't have any sympathy for Fubara because he is still the same thing. That's why Wike was able to just tell me your friend, I will tell you who you are. If Fubara is a friend to Wike, then you don't see anything different from them. It's the same selfish mentality that is driving them. They have no interest of the masses at heart. In some way, Wike opposed Amechi, and now he assumes a monster. This is the same way Fubara, of course, will take the same line to protect his political dynasty. So they can finish themselves if they care. It's not my interest. So nobody should die for these two, though, because they are the same thing. They are the same thing. If in a democratic setting where rule of law is being adhered to, and of course the conduct of the elections are seen to be free and fair, Fubara will not even emerge. It was overwhelmingly clear that the Labour Party candidate, who happens to be a lady, a woman, had an advantage, would have emerged as the governor of River State if due process was taken and if the votes of the electorate in Rivers was allowed to count. So why should somebody that is responsible begin to die for Fubara and Wike? They should fight themselves to death. They should fight themselves until they, they physically come together and shoot themselves if that becomes necessary. Because they are not there to protect the interests of the masses. So I have no sympathy for any of them. They don't represent the true democratic process. The process who brought them that brought them there was not excellent, as submitted by Mr. Peter B. Gregory. So what am I saying? Asari Dokubo should shut himself inside his room and begin to ask him questions. Ask himself question. When do I leave all this self-deception? When do I leave, get out of this self-infliction, inflicted pains and agonies, not only on yourself, but also on your people? Yes, the same Fubara, Dokubo, who was intimidating people in River State during the election and with his men, claiming that it's only the person that the anointed candidate will stand. And now you are crying. Mm. He that goes to equity must come with clean hands. That is quite unfortunate. That we have people who has no conscience, whose conscience is shared, whose conscience is sealed with hot iron. They don't care over what they think or speak, sometimes acts. So you are surprised that this is the worst government, or you are not even convinced because you said that the job people say that this is the worst government because the failure of interest might be jeopardized and you want to remain relevant. It is quite sad. A nation is not built in that way. We have it. We need integrity. I mean, people who, of course, could be trusted. People who could be consistent in their beliefs, in their ideologies, and their convictions. These are the kind of people we need to drive a new wave of revolution, economic revolution, that will engender prosperity for all as sundry, not people who will only shout when they feel they needed to fill their pockets or they needed, of course, to protect their political or their economic interests. The likes of Asari Dokubo are not are no match when it comes to issue of trust. I'm not insulting in any way his person, but I'm responding to the realities on ground, and which of course is standing before us. Today, oil subsidy have been removed, and Asari Dokubo supported it, that is what Nigeria need to move forward. So why is he surprised now that the Ijaw nations are crying, that say this is the worst government just under 6 months? If now you for perform miracle now. No, you for perform miracle. When you do not allow the true democratic process, you join in intimidating people, and today you are crying. You should close your faces in shame. You bow your face in shame. This is quite sad. The same thing you are claiming that Ijaw people will always rise to defend their own nation and interests. But you refuse to recognize that the Igbo nations also have their interests and the right to protect same. When the majority of the Igbos or Biafrans are calling for the restoration of the Biafran state, you begin to criticize them. You begin to use derogatory, slow walls on them. You don't know that whatever goes around comes around. The same mistake that was committed. You know very well how he ended. You can't betray your people and think you can remain safe. That is the reality. Asari Dokubo cannot betray his own people and think he can be secured. When the chips are down, you will know, of course, you are just a chaff be swept by the wind. That is just it. All the rantings and noise is, of course, will not serve you because by then the chips are down. When the chips are down, you know that your instruments, your armors will fail you. For salvation does not come from the number of armors you have, the number of security you have provided for yourself. One day, everybody will stand before God and give account of himself. But what I'm saying that the age of people should not be deceived by this empty rantings, of course, exhibited by Asari Dokubo because it is not in their interest. He was only just seeking for attention and to get what he wants, and after that, he will leave you to your fate. If Asari Dokubo want to fight for the job people, let the Ogoni land be cleaned up. Let other coastal regions that have been desecrated, that have been destroyed, destroyed beyond recovery. Most of those areas will take a period of dedicated and committed 30 to 50 years to be restored. So what happens to the people, sorry, within that community whose primary source of life, sustenance has been destroyed? What happens to them in the next 30, 40, 50 years? What happens to their children? Some who have lost their, who are basically farmers or fishermen, where will they also fish? Asadi Dokubo is not articulate, is not thinking about all those factors that will continue to endanger every average Ijaw people. And of course, every other people resident within those regions, the Sekiris and the rest of them, even the Igbos in River State, in Bayelsa, and beyond. I expected if Asari Dokubo can tell himself the truth, he should mobilize people and engage this government in a more responsible manner rather than ranting and opening those big mouths for nothing. He should be articulate. He should be very precise in what he needs. He should know what he needs and what his people needs. I know what his needs is just to feel himself and continue to remain relevant so that people will be singing his praises. It is quite sad that we people don't ask questions. If there are people who should lead their own people to demand for accountability, for transparency, And of course, for dividends of democracy to be extended to the people, not the likes of Asari Dokubo, that have betrayed the confidence reposed on him. That was the time he was known to be freedom fighter, but we never knew. Of course, for some who understood his antecedents, knew that this man is just crying foul. He's just there to rip off and enrich himself. Afterwards, he will abandon virtually everything that borders on the welfare and the well-being of the people. I studied Dokubo. I also came from Niger Delta. Why is it that a Niger Delta graduate cannot get job in the oil companies? You're not solving those problems. Why is it that there's only pipeline you are you are you are destined to be guiding? You have the natural resources. Foreigners, expatriates comes here and drill your oil, exploit you, desecrate, destroy your farmland, yeah, the ecosystem, and still cut away the billions of dollars from the sales and exploration of crude oil. They come to Abuja and build the best of the facilities, the best of the roads, the best of the hospital, the best of the rail system. Why your own region has nothing to reckon with? I mean, in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure, and you call yourself a Asari Dokubo, a militant. You call yourself a militant. If it's an Igbo man, you will start insulting him. Well, of course, Igbo know that you are just a riffraff, and you are too insignificant to call the attention of an average Igbo man who understood better, who sees ahead. When the likes of Adaka Barrow and what other his name, the one that was hanged by the, of course, during the time of Abacha regime. What is that? His name again? It has just skipped my mind. Saruwiwa, yes. You can't betray your people and believe you can remain secure. And that is a lesson I live with you, and the puzzle I live with you. There have never been anyone who betrayed the confidence reposed on him and still recovers same. It's not possible, it's not done. You can't be an exception. I expected you to have mobilized the entire Ijo people, the entire Niger Delta, and begin to demand for accountability. Starting from your own very governments, state governments, local governments, before you start talking about the President Tinubu, that is the worst government. What have you done for your people? In what ways have you fought for the defense and development of the Niger Delta region? Even when Jonathan served, his own Otueke, his own road leading to his house was not tarred. You are just busy, I mean, exploiting, lavishing, taking undue advantage of the Jonathan's lousity and will I use the word benevolence and uh, uh, inability to lead the nation on the path of sustainable progress. Jonathan finished his regime and has no road leading to his hometown. And you never cautioned him. Why you still have the opportunity? You're just taking undue advantage of that. So it's Tinubu that you come and blame now. No potable drinking water. Not if no good water, let alone potable drinking water. It's when you have water, you will be talking of potable. Now, when you have water, you will now be talking of potable water. No light, no road, no hospital, no schools. So, what kind of society is that? It's quite, it's quite, it's quite insulting. It's quite. I mean, it leaves one's mentality shattered at the level of its sensitivity and 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 recklessness on the part of this kind of people. It's quite sad. I was watching those videos. Of course, I never paid attention to most of them. On your mandate, you shall stand. The same mandate you shall stand now is dealing with you. Can't you have convictions? Can't you have standing? Can't you be a man for once? What are your convictions? What do you believe? What are your what values are you made of? It is quite, I'm very, not just to say I'm disappointed because I never expected anything different from you. But you should stop deceiving the Ijaw nations. You never cared for them. You never meant well for them. Because if you really meant well for them, you should address the nagging issues, the pains they face on daily basis, almost on daily basis. Of most recent, I heard some documentaries where most of them pays heavily, of course, to navigate through the waterways. Heavily to navigate through the waterways. Most of their boats capsized. You see, even during the Bayelsa election. Yes, most of the INEC advocates have lost their, of course, their personnel and some materials because of the poor facilities available. With all the money you claim you have, why can't you invest in the communities, in those sensitive regions, areas of the economy to assist and make life more better for the people? If you really care for them, why not call the attention of the people, of the country, of the government? These are areas you must pay attention to. My people are suffering because you never had the people, except when it comes to exploit them. Especially when you want them, everybody should bow before you and you believe you are the Almighty. So nobody should rise above you. It is quite sad. I think it's time you begin to ask questions, and these questions must be asked with a sense of responsibility and commitment. There is no other better time than now. It's high time we stop all this nonsense, we stop all these distortions and face reality. Humanity is at the risk of extinction as far as Nigeria is concerned when the government or the population of a country is impoverished. There is no future for such country except a drastic change, a revolution in economy, in every sector is invoked. That country is bound to be destroyed. And of course, you can't build on the economy revolution if you don't have laws and you have no respect to the rule of law, just as what is happening in Nigeria. When any court of law gives an order, the government flouts on them. Of course, the government chooses which one to obey or not. If it doesn't favor them, they trash it. And if it favors them, they upheld it. Is that kind of a country you desire? But I wouldn't blame those who are calling for the the solution for organization of this country because it has not worked for 60 something years. Even the so-called founding fathers never trusted themselves. The Zigs and the Tafa Balewas, the Awolowas, they never trusted themselves because they were driven, they have no defined objectives, they have no defined focus. They were not driven by patriotism, selfless service to their own motherland, and by extension, humanity. They were only pursuing their selfish political interests, and they can sacrifice the entire nation at the expense, of course, to get whatever they want, just as what you're experiencing today. It is quite sad. Nigerians' problem is bigger than Nigeria and can only be solved by few humanity who understood what it takes. Of course, Singapore did it when they said, no, we must come back. Those in diaspora from, is it Malaysia, they came and decided to change the entire narrative of Singapore. Yes, they paid the ultimate price. They saw that there is a revolution that will usher in a new way of doing things, of holding the government or whoever is there responsible and accountable to the people. Now, Singapore is a nation to reckon with in terms of development, in terms of economic growth and consistency, in terms of innovations and what have you. They are doing marvelously, exceptionally well. Just look at China, that was once impoverished, with a population of China, 1 point something billion. Nigeria, that has just a least, an insignificant fraction of the population of China, has the largest, the highest poor people in the world. The highest poor people in the world. You begin to ask what is happening with the enormous resources, excess crude oil sales, and what have you. The governments of the day keep on borrowing, mortgaging the life and destinies of the unborn generations. Only God knows how long. It is quite sad. The government can think on how to do to get people out of poverty, to navigate out of the destructive system. Everybody to himself, not even the National Assembly or whatever you call it, are helping matters. You can imagine at the plenary where they should be asking intellectual guided questions and making observations regarding the proposal or budget proposal. They all stood up and be saying again on your mandate we shall stand. Which mandate? A mandate that does not reflect or capture any progress or interest of the masses at heart? Why can't you question? Why can't you be independent and question the veracity of such as sections and those budgets? Scrutinize them. Know how it's been apportioned, if there is equity, fairness, if there is even distributions of the supposed commonwealth, or was it just narrowed and directed to a particular section or region of the country while neglecting others, and you expect them not to call for an independent state when they are not recognized or given any sense of course, any sense of belonging within the supposed Nigerian system. You can't deny people the right of existence and still expect them to hang themselves. There was there must be a way forward. Of course, by tomorrow we are anticipating that uh, all being equal, of course, that the leader of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra will walk out of DSS illegal detention as a free man he is, having been discharged and acquitted by the appellate court of law. Barely a year plus today, the verdict came in his favor after a rigorous litigations, amendment of charges and all that. Yet, he won overwhelmingly at the Nigerian court, appellate court of law. The same Nigerian who dragged Mazin Nandekano to court lost the court, lost the case. And yet, you think you can intimidate them because you don't have regards for the rule of law. Well, whatever happens tomorrow becomes a history, and of course, possibly we'll chart a new way forward. But the reality is that when you deny a man justice, you have the absolute right to pursue that justice with any sense, every sense of responsibility at his own disposal. Justice cannot be denied. It's the right of every living, especially when it has been pronounced by an appellate court of law within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence, the likes of Asari Dokubo, who opposed that opinion or verdict given by the court, should be ashamed of himself of condemning the same government. What we, of course, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu has a moral burden, of course, on him to allow the court process to take its course. I remember during the military junta of Abacha, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu also opposed the recklessness and the lack of compliance to the rule of law during Abacha time. Now he now assumes as the president of Nigeria. He has the moral burden on him to do what is right, even when it might not protect his interests, any hidden interest or agenda he have, but he has to comply to the rule of law because you condemn Abacha those days. You criticize him. You conducted protests. And today it is your turn. So posterity will either remember you for good or for bad. But the truth is that history can remember you for good or for bad. Cannot forget your antecedents and actions today. And will always remember. I leave you with these words. Of course, wishing you the best of the night rest. And for those waking up, good morning. And for those uh, in the midday, have a fantastic moment with your loved ones and everyone around you. I remain Chikoze Ndebo, wishing you all the best. You can also continue. I expect to have your comments regarding these pertinent issues via the comment sections. I will continue the deliberations in subsequent editions. Wishing you all the best of the Unitized seasons. Remain blessed and have a fantastic days and weeks ahead. Bye.